Oh boy, I don't have a Tyler here today, so it's like a scene out of was it Wayne's World where Garth was sitting by himself. He had the show to himself, and you could see like steam coming out of his ears. He's freaking out. I'll be
You
okay.
can do it.
I can do it, Kyle. I can do it. You heard Kyle there in the background. I have Kyle on with me. We're going to talk about some digital marketing. I won't talk to myself. I'll bring him on right now. So, Kyle, you do a little bit of work with us for Ocean Ceramics. You're helping us out with some SEO type stuff. Um, you guys do an awesome job with that. You've been great support for that. What we want to chat about today is, for a dental office, what they see in their eyes versus sort of more of a realistic picture in terms of ROI. So I saw this meme the other day. It was a like a high end yacht, So and underneath the yacht it said, the marketing plan. And then the next picture down was a picture of an iron, like a clothes iron. It's like it looked like a boat, but it was held up in front of the water, and it said marketing budget. And the last one was like a cruise ship, and that was the expectation. So, what are you seeing, Kyle? What are you seeing out there in terms of what people want? Sort of do they have like a good idea, a good picture of what's involved? Let's chat about that because I think that's really important.
Yeah, I think some clients come to us with a realistic expectation. Other clients, they just don't know. And so they tend to really favor whatever they like the most about marketing. Um, One of the classic, I guess, things that we make fun of in this office is uh, one of our clients on the print side that wouldn't take our advice kept sending out uh, mail outs with their favorite soup recipe every month. Had absolutely nothing to do with things, but they were convinced there was ROI on that $5,000 a month marketing initiative. Um, my goal, obviously, with my team is always tracking data. And if we have clear numbers, we can generally make sure that we're on point with the ROI they're looking for. So we can kind of blend that blur between the iron and the cruise ship of expectation, make sure that things are actually making sense. That's where it's important, obviously, to know what our target customer acquisition cost is and
Yeah.
really provide them with the tools and data work backwards from that.
Yeah, that's what we're dead focused on too is actual cost per patient acquisition. There's so many like things that they've done, like marketing that they're comfortable with that they've done in the past, like the flyers, the fridge magnets and that kind of thing. But like you said, it's when you have data now and all the tools to measure, performance of your campaign, it becomes more of an educated guess versus a just throwing the dung at the wall, right?
Yeah, I'm still surprised at how many people are just comfortable with the educated yes approach and the feel good factor of I'm marketing and
Yeah.
I just got a new patient and they said they saw something. So it must be from that, it must be working versus actually knowing what they're spending by channel versus what they're making by channel. And it can be hard to track because if you're a dentist that's growing your practice actively, you're not just doing one thing. So it's
Hmm.
never just, month to month, I'll do this month and this the next month. It's always a little bit of everything.
Right. I had a client out here. I won't say who they are, but we were we were having a meeting with them. We were discussing strategy. We actually were discussing coming in and doing like a video shoot with them. And it was like after we've been doing some services with Dentist on Demand. So Dentist on Demand, as you know, is a listing service, and we drive traffic through social media. Um, they were confused, and I don't blame them because like you and I both know, Kyle, like the complexities of modern day digital marketing. There's so many. pieces that need to be happening simultaneously for it to be successful. But
Mhm.
they didn't know, what was happening on the front end. Like they had no way to measure in place to determine whether or not a patient came from a referral versus, you know, any other channel. But they hadn't done any marketing in 15 years, like actual marketing. I think they took out an ad in a local newspaper. And that was like 15 years ago, and they've just depended on sort of the referral. And they're a busy practice, so like it hasn't failed on them. And they're good practice and good clinician. But they were strongly under the impression that their big sign out front was bringing in all the patients. Like that's what they attribute to their success. So what are you consulting your clients into in terms of like dashboards and front end, to give them eyeballs that those patients are actually coming in from paid campaigns?
Yeah, I'd say there's two main things. One is just proper conversion tracking set up on the website, um, so that when something does flow through a contact form or is tapped to call, we
Mm-hmm.
are able to attribute it back to social media, Google Ads, Facebook ads, or whatever the source was. The other one that I think that's actually utilized a whole lot less is using something like CallRail to do call tracking.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's right.
being able to set up 8 to 10 different local numbers for all of the different spots. It works actually extremely well too, not just for digital, but for any traditional marketing. Being able
Mm-hmm.
to put a different phone number so that depending on what number routes that call to your main landline to your receptionist front desk, we're able to track and record where that came from. We're also able to look at uh, how that call was answered, whether it was a first time customer or not, and actually just provide complete oversight too on the recordings of those calls so that, you know, dentists are busy. They're not overseeing things, but if once a month they're wondering why the conversion rate's not there from, leads to new patient bookings, they're able to provide some coaching and oversight for their team as well.
And that's huge. Yeah, absolutely. We use Conversion Kit actually quite a bit. It's the same situation as
Yeah, same
CallRail, but
premise.
yeah, it's very powerful and almost scary sometimes. We had this one clinic out here in BC that we use this story all the time. We had a patient online, was pre-approved for services A to Z, $15,000 pre-approved patient, just needed to book on a Saturday. And the response from the receptionist was, "We're not open on Saturdays." And that's where the conversation stopped. So there is like a real true power to having that information so that you can sit down with the team and talk about like that sort of situation. It's not ragging on the front end. You know, they are a major part to this marketing piece too. They have to convert, and that's a big deal, right? We can send them all these juicy leads all day long, but it's all about how that front end handles those calls.
Have you seen any of your customers adopting Dovetail or any of the more advanced clinic practice?
No.
No. So
Um,
Dovetail is really interesting because, I mean, I know it's very hard to switch from AbleDent or whatever to a new software when you have all of your data there. But
mhm.
for anyone opening new clinics, I mean, I also like my fiance, and a lot of my good friends are dentists, and my fiance was a hygienist for many years, and um, scheduling online, it does offer an integration to do that, which is one of the biggest challenges for busy patients now is just not being able to book any way other than calling.
Right.
But also just access for uh, their team, their hygienists, their dental assistants, front desk staff to be able to know when they're working without coming into the clinic to check. So
Mhm. And sorry, what
Yeah,
was that software
technology is
called?
making it's called Dovetail.
Dovetail. Okay, cool. I'll have to look that up. There's so many now.
Yeah.
We deal with the folks down at Care Crew. They're they have got a really great system that handles recall as well, which is once you get those patients into the practice, let's keep them there and let's get a review for our SEO, right? And the other one
Mhm.
that we go with is sort of a like an all encompassing communications package called Weave. So we deal with those two primarily, but um, I think the point is to have something in place, right? And
Mhm.
not only just have something in place, have a system built around that. Get the staff like involved with training, and there is a real division in between front and back end. So enhancing the communication in between those two pieces is crucial as well. So, um, yeah, awesome. What are you seeing driving the most success out there right now in terms of patient traffic?
That is a loaded question.
You knew it was
I
coming.
mean, I'm pretty biased to a well-structured site paired with a well-structured Google ad campaign, just
Right.
because that is the most natural fit to tap into more growth tomorrow. Um, I'd say the biggest problems I see is typically a campaign just sending traffic to a homepage instead of being structured and sending specific to treatment or service pages. Um,
Right.
Customer
Right.
that Google's implants wants to see an implant specific ad and then be taken to an implant specific page that talks about it and provides similar level of value as what people often invest to a homepage to be able to convert onto that page. Um, I mean, ads aside, I think dentists are the good ones at least. One of our clients here, I'm not going to take credit for it because we actually started working with them after they had a lot of their success, but they're growing at close to 300 new patients a month for
Wow, that's
um,
amazing.
for over 2 years. And for them, it was about the community. Their model is a little bit of everything. Um,
Hmm.
they had, I'm not going to name the actual Facebook group, but there's a Facebook group that they're part of. And there was 50,000 moms that were a part of that group. And so they're extremely loyal to their presence there. And it was just all around look, the feel, the brand, and what they stood for in terms of a practice and differentiation. And on that note, I'd say the biggest thing that you can take, like even a cookie cutter site here that's made up from a template, and the same site over here with custom photo or video is
Hmm.
night and day difference from a customer experience standpoint. Um,
Yeah.
Everyone's seen the same stock photos used on every site over and over
Yeah.
and over again,
Over and over
and
and over again. Yeah.
that's not persuasive. So,
No, it's not. It's
um,
not.
yeah, as biased as I am to Google Ads, it's a little bit of everything. A little bit of
Yeah.
review management, a little bit of email marketing, um, even looking at internal customer upsells, if you will.
Hmm.
You know, hygiene's generally known to be fairly profitable and consistent, but
Yes.
every dentist wants to come in and bill as much as they can doing, say, implants or uh, whitening, wisdom teeth removal. If they do those types of procedures, fillings, crowns, and the sort. So,
Hmm.
looking at ways um, to tap into like your existing customers. Because cosmetic dentistry as well is becoming a lot more. More people are wanting
Yeah.
veneers,
Yeah.
whitening, Invisalign. I'm a patient right now. I took it out for the podcast, but I'm
Oh
an
yeah. There you
Invisalign
go.
customer right now.
Hey,
So
you can wear those. They're clear aligners,
uh,
man.
it just
Yeah, no, you
makes it way
nailed it.
harder to
Yeah.
speak a little bit. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So yeah,
Absolutely.
just lots of stuff like that.
Yeah, and like hygiene is the foundational piece of the practice. It keeps people coming back through the door on a regular basis, right? Um, yeah, that's I couldn't agree more. Like, I think, first and foremost is that website. Like, is it a maze? Is it user friendly? Was it built in 1995 and it's still this? Nothing's been done to it, right? It could be a deterrent, right? A poor website could be a deterrent. It's almost better to take a bad website down than keep it up. Um, yeah, so we're that's kind of how we're seeing it too. Is just an overall blend of what the clinician has the budget for and the time for, right? So, and it's on groups on Facebook or social, that's that's not as easy it is like as it is for everyone, right? So these tools are all super powerful if they're used to their full effectiveness. And that's where guys like you and I come in. And I think
Yeah, the big thing is you got to make sure that they have that one trusted advisor, right? It's
yeah
because
yeah
the challenge with marketing and digital and is just that there's no wrong answer. Like pretty much anything and any idea that someone brings to you will probably help, most likely, more than it hurts. But
yeah
how do you prioritize and and give different weights to different things so that when the budget comes back, and as much as like we can make fun of the meme of the iron and the ship. The
yeah
same thing oftentimes too is like customers might come with the laundry list, which is the ship of wants and needs, but then they tell you they've got a very limited budget. So that's
hmm
fine. But then you've got to be able to pick off the things that are going to have the biggest impact and work on those
that's
first
right
when you build that relationship.
that's right yeah no, exactly. And I lost my train of thought. I'm losing it. um yeah, it's what was I gonna say? It's escaped me, but that's okay. um y- in our industry, I think there's been a lot of like we're running into this where there'll be somebody in house, or there's been like a cousin, or somebody that helps them out with all this stuff, and they're in a comfortable position. They may or may not know like what they're doing to the full extent of like the full spectrum of digital marketing and building good content. And essentially they're just like getting burned by these people and collecting money. So it's a challenge, I think, for us to get through that in the beginning, become a trusted advisor, but that happens with delivering results, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, our fundamentals here are results and relationship. Um,
Yeah.
Obviously, results stand for themselves, and uh, clients have to understand the results too. So being able to take the time to walk them through, how does cost per lead affect your number of leads per month? How is
That's right.
having a new website actually going to take you from a 2% conversion rate to a 7%? And how much less expensive is that new customer going to be? Like it's going to be that much more affordable when your
Mm-hmm.
conversion rate's up. And just, you know, um, typically people pay attention to what they want to pay attention to. And
Yeah.
that's often the things that excite them the most, which aren't the biggest problem. So if you
Yeah.
truly do have the data and the reporting from A to Z, it can be much easier to hone in on
Yeah.
where
An
that
easier
time is
conversation.
best
Yeah.
spent for making improvement. So
Absolutely.
so yeah,
Yeah.
data's big.
Mm-hmm.
We're a creative company now. I think as much as we are a data company, we've built out the photo, video, motion graphics team, and we've got really strong creative team. But at the root is still like my passion for how everything's trackable. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's what brought me into this industry in the first
Mm-hmm.
place. My parents weren't super thrilled when I went from what I was studying to what I'm doing now for some freelance customers, but I beg to say it's paid off, I guess, now at this point. And I think uh, yeah, it's the data approach that's fascinating. Um, Not to go on and on and on, but I've definitely got some interest and involvement in the AI side of things too.
Awesome. Yeah.
And once you have good data sets, is being able to make intelligent decisions from that. So
It
yeah, I
takes
mean,
the
super
guesswork out. Yeah.
fascinating. I think dental is one of those industries that I think is most consistent, and it's just super fun to work with them because I feel like they're smart people, but they also have to be smart business people,
Yeah,
because going in and putting in a 7 hour day with 30 different patients doesn't keep the lights on at the end of the day if they can't go home and keep the finances in check.
that's right.
And
Yeah.
personnel management. So this is probably as difficult or more difficult than any other business owner.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, couldn't have said it like I'm a data nerd too. Absolutely. Like it's when you get out the pie charts and all that, I'm in. Excel sheets, yep. I get it totally. And it's so much fun with all of the tools that you can deploy now. So yeah, and you're absolutely right. Like, and you know, they are a business owner and a doctor. So sometimes the business side of things is a little, that's a tough road to catch up to. They went to school to be a great clinician and help people, but there's definitely a missing piece to their success in just running a business. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some amazing business owners out there, business clinicians out there, but they still need help from guys like us too. So
Yeah, I
um,
think the more people I get exposed to, the more I also realize that, a lot of times there's reps at, say, Henry Schein or Sinclair. A lot of those are the two major suppliers that can
yeah.
help you with your practice, even like your floor plan layout, sourcing equipment
Hmm.
uh, for more affordable prices,
Yeah.
um, and making sure that your corporation's set up. Some dentists still are sole proprietors, and making sure that succession plan is there so that that practice is sellable one day. Um,
Yes,
I've been
absolutely.
seeing
Yeah.
crazy prices for dentists, dental practices lately, like with the dental corps and stuff of the world
Oh
that
yeah.
are
Yeah.
gobbling up partnerships and whatnot, left, right, and center. To some degree, it makes sense, um, but yeah, it's made dental a very interesting world these days,
It
to say the
is.
least.
It is an interesting world. It's fun. Yeah. Um, yeah, there is a huge infusion of corporate dentistry coming through and is changing the world up a little bit. It's a lot. And it's another piece to understand. And they're taking they're taking sort of the business out of it for the clinician, where they can just go in and do their dentistry and not have to worry about the nuts and bolts of the practice. But it's also taking the control of the practice away from those clinicians too, at some degree, right? I know, they have some skin in the game. Some of them still get a percentage of the profit, but um, there's quotas to be met. The team is, all handled through the corporations, so that becomes a challenge because it might not necessarily be, you know, a better situation for them, if I can put it nicely. But yeah, it makes the whole game a little bit more interesting. So
It is,
cool.
yeah, and yeah. So I mean, even a new angle for me is I got close friends right now. We've got dogs; they got a puppy, so we've been hanging out a bit more. But just looking at like what is the plan after being associate? If there's something more there, are
Hmm.
you buying a practice? Are you
Yeah.
starting your own practice? You know, how do you value a practice? Those are not things that, unless you've got close friends to discuss things with, um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you're really trusting that advisor or the broker for the business, and it's tough. But again, it's a business world. Things are getting more competitive, but at the same
Hmm.
time, getting more competitive, it's becoming there's more and more options to differentiate. More software out there, more
Hmm.
social media. Uh, does a dentist need to be on TikTok? Who knows?
There are
I'll
some.
let them. There are some, and some of the accounts are
Yeah.
actually really fun and engaging and can work,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah. Yeah.
to just be on that and some other social media just for the sake of it. It's better to do certain things really well.
Yeah.
So
I couldn't agree more. At least when you're doing something, what is the purpose? What's the end game on that? That's what I always ask. Like, they have great ideas in mind about what they envision, but it's, what is the result of those actions is the important piece. And how does that convert? How does that put you in a better situation? I think that's always the road to go down, as the road that's moving the needle forward for everybody, right?
Couldn't agree more. You got to agree on expectations and track those every step of the way.
That's right. Yeah, I agree. Kyle, anything else? Any shout outs or anything that you want to top of mind that you're excited about?
I had a few notes. I think we covered most of them. The exciting things. I mean, I got to give credit to the teams like you guys, because I feel like you guys are the movers and shakers as much as the new technology providers are, to be out there creating a fun and engaging, podcast essentially, and all the other things you're doing, to kind of move and shake in some of these traditional industries. So keep it up. We'll stay in touch, and thanks for having me.
Awesome, Kyle. Yeah, thank you very much. It's a good thing that the truckers aren't out in front of your building now. You can get out and go home.
That's right. I'll be able to go home. I was stuck here for 3 weeks straight. I had to sleep on the hammock upstairs. So,
are you serious?
No, I wasn't stuck. But
that would have been a cool story. You should have just agreed.
I should have went with yes. Yeah.
All right, Kyle. Have a good weekend.
All right. You too. Take care.
Bye-bye.